From beautiful downtown Milwaukee, the mecca of mythicism, it's the Mythicist Milwaukee Show. Keeping the all-seeing eye of Horus on the secular movement. Produced weekly by Mythicist Milwaukee and sponsored by Atheist Community of Milwaukee, Kenosha Racine Atheists and Freethinkers, and King's Tower Productions. The Mythicist Milwaukee Show highlights movers and shakers from the global secular movement and explores the mythic origins of today's major religions. From beautiful downtown Milwaukee, the mecca of mythicism, it's the Mythicist Milwaukee Show. Keeping the all-seeing eye of Horus on the secular movement. Produced weekly by Mythicist Milwaukee and sponsored by Atheist Community of Milwaukee, Kenosha Racine Atheists and Freethinkers, and King's Tower Productions. The Mythicist Milwaukee Show highlights movers and shakers from the global secular movement and explores the mythic origins of today's major religions. Welcome back, everybody. I'm your host, Rob Moore. You can find me at Robin Arrow and us at Mythicist MKE. And flying without my normal co-pilot, I have producer Sean Forasek with me today. What's going on today, Sean?
Not much. Never thought I would have to go on Pornhub to do a copyright infringement form.
Well, the minute I saw you, I knew you'd be on Pornhub someday.
Oh, that's hilarious. Yeah, so we do have the debate videos out there for rent, and somebody decided to download it and upload it to Pornhub. So you have two 60-year-old men talking to one another, and you see all of these lewd sex acts as ads around it. So it's a very interesting situation. So for those that rented the video, thank you. For the guy that stole it and uploaded it on Pornhub,
And for those of you expecting to find porn on your normal Pornhub, we're very sorry for that boredom that you were had unleashed upon you unwittingly. But
it's a funny story now, though.
It is a funny story. Yeah. Patting ourselves on the back for a great effort with the debate and the conference. Was that last week or 2 weeks ago?
It's last week, man. Last Friday.
Oh, man. Yeah, great job, everybody. Congratulations again to the team. And do get that debate rented if you have not seen it. How can they do that without going to Pornhub?
Without going to Pornhub? Yeah, I probably shouldn't have said it. Now everyone's going to go on Pornhub to watch it for free.
Everyone did it. Everyone was going to Pornhub anyway.
There you go. No, it's just on the channel. Check it out. Dr. Robert Price and Dr. Bart Ehrman debating. So check that out.
Good deal. Also with us, as always, is El Desconocido, Antonio, and he will join us later. He's feeding his face right now, so he can't say hi, but he is here in the studio along with the fabulous engineer, awesome Jason Lawson, as we do the podcast every week here from beautiful downtown Milwaukee, and we are absolutely thrilled to have with us.
Super excited.
Today, one of the biggest names we've ever had. It really, literally.
Oh, absolutely.
Atheist podcast here, and we've gotten into the world of entertainment a little bit lately, and Lahna Turner is with us today. She's one of the hottest comedians working the circuit.
Aw, hey guys, thank you. I just think it's pretty awesome that somebody's masturbating to your debate on Pornhub.
That's what I'm saying. I'm worried that people are just going to be like, "Where's the porn? What is this?"
Master debating.
There's some fetish out there for.
That's a new category, right? Yeah, it should be a new category. You know?
Agnostitilation. I don't know. Can we come up with a new word? But seriously, Lahna is it's Lahna with an H. I'm wondering she's actually like maybe it's a Jew thing. It's supposed to be Lahna because
I think it's just backwards without the H at spelling.
Oh, okay. So. I'm stuck in my goyhood, so I'm not really sure about some of these things here. But Lahna Turner, of course, I'm old enough to remember. There was a pinup girl from the 40s and 50s movie star, Lahna Turner. Did you have to? Is your name actually Lahna Turner with an H, or was that? Did you have to do that
for? Real name.
Okay.
Yeah, my parents liked the name Lahna, and they weren't worried about the actress, which is spelled different. She spells hers Lana. So
right.
But yeah.
Well, I wondered if it was an actors' equity thing, or like you still have that was a licensed and you couldn't be Lahna Turner with no H.
Well, if I didn't have the H, it would be more complicated with like Google searches, and I think getting in like certain IMDb and stuff like that. But other, like actor stuff. But the H has helped me.
Yeah, I bet it has. And what's also helped you is you're friggin' hilarious, man.
Oh yeah,
I watched 6 or 7 videos before I got on. I'm like, all right. When I watched your videos, I laughed out loud like 4 times.
Yay.
Like belly laughed out loud.
Good.
There are no boundaries. You work hard to offend everybody. I think it's
great.
I really guy like
in this
me.
PC culture, like it's
so
great.
refreshing.
Yeah, it really is.
And you guys know me. I mean, I love any of that stuff. And it's any girl who's into toilet humor is just like. Right to the top of the class. So, how long have you always been funny? How did you get into comedy? Have you always just been that class cut up, like a lot of us who are into comedy are? Or what? Tell us your story.
Oh my gosh! No, actually, I was not the class cut up. I was really shy and quiet in high school and through college. I never thought I would do stand up, but I started writing songs, and I love writing songs, and I found that I have a knack for writing funny, dirty ones. And then what happened was I wandered into an open mic because I was really trying to conquer my fear of being in front of an audience. This was a long time ago, but I wandered into an open mic and I did really well my first time. And then I ended up within a few months of that, I got paid. And that was crazy to me. Like the guy put $20 in my hand after I did a set. And I didn't know what it was for. I was literally like, what is this? And he goes, I paid you for your set. And I was like, really? Like I could get paid for this? And that was it. When I realized that, I really just started doing stand-up. And I love it.
Now, how long ago was that?
18 years ago.
18 years.
Yeah, but I mean, she's been on NBC, Comedy Central, Animal Planet, Netflix, VH1, CMT, truTV, and now she's up for a Grammy. Can you tell us about that a little bit?
What's the Grammy about?
So this past year, I feel like I've really found a new place for myself in comedy. I had a lot of hard things happen. I'm going through divorce, and that was tragic, and I got super depressed. And I have a friend who happened to, he was one of the heads of Warner Brothers Records music division. And he ended up leaving right around this time. And I asked him, just not thinking it would ever be possible, if he would be interested in recording a comedy music album with me. And he said yes. And I was like, oh my God. So I ended up going into his studio and literally crying because I was having such a hard time. And we ended up recording an album, which it's like the jagged little pill of comedy because it's about, breakup and loss and recovery. So that album has been submitted and is on the docket in the comedy section. So if anybody is on NARIS, which is the people who can vote in the Grammys out there listening, you can write in on the comedy section, my number 064, and maybe I can actually, get something out of it. But if not, it's a huge honor just to even be able to get into that because I'm pretty excited just to have the opportunity, But the project, the album, I'm so happy. So it's currently available online now. It's on iTunes and pretty much anywhere where you download music. And I mean, I'm so proud of it. It's the best work I've ever done, in my opinion. It kind of grew into this other thing because we called it Limeade because of what happened after I recorded the album. Another friend of mine helped me produce a visual album, which is not out yet. But basically, we took all the songs and did what Beyonce did with Lemonade, and I made my version, which is Limeade. So we can look forward to that. It's just been a remark. Like all the hard things came that it's like a boomerang. Like the universe kind of gave me back a lot of what I feel like I've lost through the divorce and like the loss of the marriage. It's pretty cool.
I guess you heard it here. So when you do release that, keep an eye on Pornhub because
I hope it's on Pornhub.
It might go on Pornhub.
Well, you guys are a religious show, and I'm not a religious person, but I feel like there's some and I'm not narcissistic enough to believe that the universe has my back or something because I've traveled enough of the world to see how shitty good people have it in shittier parts of the world,
right.
way shitty. But I do feel like there was something really cool. I think maybe being pushed in an opposite direction created this. I just feel like I got so many good things out of something negative. And I don't know what that is. I really have a hard time with it because I am so not into that whole spirituality of things. But it literally was like every time I got punched in the gut with something, I just waited a few days and something amazing happened to counteract it. Kind of cool.
Well, that's why we see, like, with comedians, their ability to challenge those narratives and religious or even non-religious narratives. And, you know, one of the songs that you did, which I thought was funny, was "I Married the Savior." Where'd the idea from that come from? And can you describe it for those that haven't listened?
Oh my God, I wrote that so long ago. My mom would have approved if I'd have married Jesus because he was a Jew. Right. Basically, my mom never liked my ex. She hated him early on, and so I wrote that song, but because of that, she would have been much happier if I'd have married the Savior. Which probably, in hindsight, I should have listened to my mom. She was she was right.
Now you say you were never religious, but your family was. Did you quit Judaism early, or were you just never on board?
They weren't religious. You know, Judaism is a weird thing because there's a cultural component to it. So even though, here's the thing, I could say to you guys, I'm not Jewish, but it wouldn't matter because if we were in a different time, just not even that long ago, somebody else would say I'm Jewish and I would still be slaughtered with everyone else. So it really, there's like a different thing to it. So I'm still Jewish no matter what I say. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
totally.
we hear that from
Totally.
a lot of members and people who come to our groups who come from the Jewish background. Besides the fact that most modern educated Jews are basically atheists anyway, in our experience.
I mean, Judaism is kind of nice because it allows you to question the existence of God. Of course, they want you to come back around to conclude that there is one. But, I mean, there's sort of this like constant questioning, which is kind of cool, at least in the way I was raised within it. But the holidays are fun. Like, I think not all, actually, I shouldn't say fun. When I say Jewish holidays, they're not really fun, but they are part of your upbringing too. So that's kind of like, I enjoy certain holidays, but I haven't done a good job of instilling that in my kids at all. They're not really anything. I tell them that they're Jewish in the same way that I feel I'm Jewish, which is like Israel is important and we belong to a group of people that have had a historically not a good ride. So you need to know what you are and that way, you know. But I went to Israel after college. I did a kibbutz, which, you know, I lived there for 5 months. It's a commune where you live with other people. Mm-hmm. It's a miniature communistic society in Israel. And they were set up early on to help establish the nation. It's really an amazing experience. And I learned the language but there was no emphasis at all on religion. In fact, on the kibbutz, they are not religious, most of those kibbutz, which is really, because they're like a little community that was set up for war.
Right. It's social support.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, we remember kibbutz. I'm old enough to remember when kibbutzes were in the news in the 70s.
Really?
You just keep dating yourself.
Well, you know, I'm ancient. You know, what can I say?
Well, I noticed too. Again, taking it to the comedy bit, the beef in the Middle East video that you did. We were just dying when we were watching that. It's just so great and so funny. And can you tell us a little bit about that one?
Well, I wrote that sketch because my friend Mona, who I'm wrestling with, we did a show. It was kind of like a peace show of bringing in a bunch of different religions and cultures together, a stand-up show. And she and I started talking about things, and I said, you know what, we should do a video. And then I wrote this thing about how we were going to wrestle in crude oil, and nobody's going to win. Like, it's just going to be an ongoing battle. And oh my God, I want that thing to get more hits because it's so funny. And I feel like it just didn't get enough attention, whereas some of the other videos have gotten a lot more hits. But that one.
Yeah, I think we can help definitely promote that because it's essentially a Jewish wrestler and a Muslim wrestler.
Female wrestlers.
Female wrestlers about crude oil.
Sure. Well, it mirrors the larger conflict. There's never going to be a winner.
And the Christian's the referee.
Right. That was the best part. Yeah. Let's have a nice, clean Christian fight.
Right.
He breaks us up with ham.
Brilliant. Right. Brings the ham in and you guys can't go near
Brilliant
it.
stuff.
Right.
Brilliant
Right.
stuff.
I have my Jewish attorney in the corner.
Right.
And she's got the guy with the bomb.
Yeah. And he like blows himself
when he blows himself up.
Man.
The whole thing is great.
So good. I know it hits on every stereotype, including the pubic hair.
Yes.
That
was over the
hair.
top.
Oh man,
the sideburns right down the thighs. Yeah, I love that, man.
so gross.
And it got worse as the fight went on because it grows so fast.
Right, right.
Wonderful.
It's 3 o'clock shadow.
Fabulous.
Right.
You're clearly someone who doesn't care if they offend religion. Does religion deserve this? Should we be poking more fun at these the beliefs that kind of lead to the fundamentalist acts that we all abhor?
I think so. I mean, you know, I don't want to. I don't legitimately want to hurt people's feelings. I think, like, for a lot of people, religion serves a really important function in their lives. I mean, I've spent some time trying to go to Al-Anon in the past few years, and that's really hard for me because I can't, even though they say, well, a higher power can be anything you can put, I have a really hard time with it. And I wish sometimes that I could just find that because it would be so much easier. And I understand that sometimes people just need that in their lives.
Yeah.
But yes, as far as poking fun at it, like, come on, like, are you going to base your whole opinion about life and your beliefs on some book that was written by somebody who didn't, like, wash their ass? Like,
right.
This is a whole different.
Hated women.
See, it looks like exactly the way I put that. You've heard me say that. People who couldn't wash their ass.
But comedians can do it, Rob. You just can't do it. No.
What are you trying to say, man?
No, but I think you know, we don't pick on anybody in particular. Again, we've had religious people on the show, even though we're pretty much an atheist podcast. But we're poking at the ideology, the religion, not the people. And I think you know, with that video, you did that. You weren't picking on the people, and you know, those that are more liberal religious people find it funny too because they think some of that is just as silly, you know.
Yeah, I mean, like, look, I'm not a big pork eater, but the reason why that was a law was because it used to kill people, so it made sense. Like now that doesn't make sense. There's so many things we do culturally that don't make any sense that are just grounded in some ancient belief, and like. We have antibiotic now. Like, you don't have to like, there are things that we can do to, like, if you do get sick, like, it just, you know, people aren't dying.
We can refrigerate our pork.
Yes, exactly. So, yeah, enough. Like, when I live in LA, so there's a lot of Hasidic Jews that walk around. It's really funny. One of my friends, when she first moved to LA, she was driving down Pico, where a lot of the Hasidic live, on a Friday night, and they're all out walking around. And she thought there was an Abraham Lincoln convention.
Did he have those curly locks though? Did he have? I'm not sure Abraham really sported.
They're all wearing the big hats, you know. But they're wearing an outfit that it was like almost a repression kind of thing, and it's horrible and hot and smelly and gross, and they're eating like this disgusting food that's like I've had Jewish food. Some of the Jewish food is awesome. Like, I love latkes, like the potato pancakes with the applesauce is so yummy. Mm-hmm. But some of that Hasidic food, it's like the most disgusting food. And I guess, I mean, they like it, but ugh.
You don't like schmaltz and onion sandwiches?
Yeah, exactly. Like, they're preserving something that, like, a ghettoization of Western European Jews or whatever. Like, in my mind, that's
what is it? Don't you get that impression that they're trying to just be dour all the time on purpose?
Yeah, they're just preserving something that doesn't make any sense to me because I'm like, because you wear a fuzzy hat on your head, that somehow makes you like a better human being and closer to, if there is some sort of like God, do you think God cares that you walked around your whole life in a fuzzy hat?
Right.
Like that's like, then will God care if I walked around with a clown nose on my face? Like, it's just ridiculous to me.
No, but the law will. Just don't be dressing up as a clown. They'll throw you right in jail these days, man.
I don't know.
Not funny anymore.
You might have a pretty good ride that way.
The Hasidim I never understood because you got like I said, the most modern educated Jews are liberal thinkers and question their religion and basically atheists. But here you have the Hasidim, and then they're dragging it. They're basically responsible. For fundamentalist Christians and Muslims. They did it to us. They're out there giving those people the justification they need for believing that the world is 6,000 years old. It's like, get over it.
Yeah, no, I mean, those guys too in Israel, when you're in Israel, they're the ones that also cause the conflict because they're the ones that are moving onto the occupied territories, claiming it's theirs and setting up these and then they do not, the military is compulsory there. Like, all the kids have to go in, but the Hasidic, the ultra religious kids don't. So while they're causing the problems, their children aren't the ones risking their lives. Yeah. It's really fucked up.
Well, I give you so much credit because you've been there, and then you've also done you travel with the troops. You did the show on the road.
The USO is still alive. You love that. Bob Hope not, but the USO. Yes.
Where did you exactly go when you went overseas?
I've done a number of U.S. military shows, and the most interesting would be going to Iraq and Kuwait. But I've done, I mean, they're all great. I've done Germany, Italy, Japan, Korea, I did some military shows in Guam. I've even done some stateside, like I've done some even off the coast of California. I love supporting the military because they protect my right to say awful things and do things, but it's always an honor. But the Iraq trip was amazing. I mean, we got to actually be in Black Hawks and
wow.
And it was scary. I was only there for a week. I can't imagine years in a war zone like that. I was terrified.
How was the culture? Was that a big culture shock for you?
We didn't get to really, I didn't get to go into, I didn't have a lot of interactions with the people of Iraq.
Okay.
There was probably the only actual interaction that we had was with a prisoner of war. The guy was in one of the hospitals. And we walked into the hospital. We were looking to meet some U.S. military that might be in the hospital there. And there wasn't. There was just a prisoner. And so we got to meet him. And he looked so happy just to have a visitor. But I was like, but he'd done something that had led him to get medical care, but he was also under arrest. Wow. So, because the military will take care of people if they can or have to. But that was really the only Iraqi that we had contact with. Otherwise, we're all on military base. They tried to keep us as safe as possible. So it was all military.
Now, how's your act received? I imagine it's received well because you're funny, but do you get any kind of backlash from the right-wingers who might not appreciate some of your edgy comedy in the military?
Not at all. The only time when I did a military show that I made a mistake and said something I shouldn't have was in Germany. We were in an Air Force base near Dachau, and I made a World War II joke, and you can't reference the Holocaust when you're performing in Germany. Apparently, I didn't know that, but this was really early on. I had only been doing stand up for a couple of years, and nobody had mentioned that to me. So
too soon.
So you didn't do the Anne Frank Helen Keller duet song.
that one wouldn't have gone over well. No. Here's the crazy part is we're like in Frankfurt. We're right. I think it was in Frankfurt where the show was, but whatever the case, it was like, what do you want to talk about? I'm going to talk about my day a little bit when I get on stage. And we had gone to Dachau, and I was like, okay, this is, surely that this is a common experience because these people are here, but you're not supposed to talk about it. Like World War II never happened, basically, when you're in Germany as a U.S. military, which blew my mind, but they don't like to talk about it. It's not a happy topic.
Yeah,
but the joke was solid. It was funny. You're just not supposed to do it there. But otherwise, no. I was very well received, and I mean, the guys and gals that are in the military they literally. I had somebody come up to me and he hugged me while crying and said he hadn't laughed in a year, and he was so grateful for the comedy release.
Isn't that worth more than anything else you do? We get it on this tiny level that we have when a little person comes out of the woodwork and says, thanks for your podcast. It just makes it all worth it.
Yeah, the events. Yeah.
Oh, it's the best. Yeah, I mean, if you can affect somebody positively, I mean, that's what it's all about, really.
Well, I had a question because she's in L.A. and we had brought up the Jewish thing. You also have the modern crazy house, I guess, with Scientology. Like, that's huge in L.A. Do you ever see any of that? And like how you're on the scene, like I know there's a lot of actors and actresses that are in Scientology. Do you ever is that like a topic that people kind of shy away from, or?
That's funny. No, I was on Hollywood Boulevard the other day and I saw their big compound. Like they have multiple places, right, where they have, and it's beautiful. And they have a big ad that I hadn't seen before for I don't know if it's affiliated with them, but it was like a music school. So that's how they get people. They offer classes and stuff, and you'll go in. I've never done it, but acting classes and stuff, and I guess they're great acting classes, great music classes, and people will go in there and then they'll join the religion. I don't know, but I don't really have much to do with it. I did see the documentary though. That was crazy.
Yeah, Going Clear.
Yeah. That man. That's
yeah.
I wonder if I wondered when I saw the building if that documentary has affected their enrollment.
Yeah. Well, we actually just had Tony Ortega. He was actually in the movie. He was just on the show, and he was telling us their enrollment's like way down. Like it's like something like 50,000 people total. When you'll see on Wikipedia there's 500,000 things like that. He's like, no. He talks to the insiders, and it's way, way down. I mean, they still have billions and billions of dollars because they don't pay taxes and they don't pay their employees. But yeah, enrollment's way down. So it'd be interesting to see if they survive.
I don't know how they could avoid being part of the general decline in religion in the country. Anyway, the internet has to have affected them adversely, just like every other religion. When people can actually get access to information, you start questioning.
Well, but it's the celebrities. I mean, that's it. You get, that's their big pull. They got Travolta and Cruz, and like Lahna was saying, they're giving acting classes there. I mean, that's brilliant. You're right in L.A. and you give people
somebody wanders into L.A. looking for something and they find that.
Exactly.
But you know what? When I watched that documentary and they talk about the taxes, for me personally, I just think all religions should not be able to not pay taxes. I used to have a house in Nashville, and there was a church literally every 10 seconds driving into the neighborhood. There were so many churches. There's not enough people to support them. Just simply not. I can't imagine. Mm-hmm. And so the only way they're able to support is it seems like a racket to me, at least seeing the people, somebody owns that land and they're not paying taxes on it because the church is on it. And if a few people wander in, there's no cost at keeping that property. So, it just, I don't know. There's just too much of, maybe for every legitimate church, there's got to be several illegitimate ones that are just they're milking the system because they don't have to pay anything. That to me just seems crazy. I guess the idea is that they do a lot of good deeds and they help the community.
Yeah.
But I mean, a lot of them are businesses.
Right.
It's just
that's
a big business.
And they've always been considered to be non-for-profit, which if anyone who's ever paid attention to Catholic churches.
Well, it was interesting though. David Cross did a great video where he was asking that let's start. He was asking for big changes from the next president, and his first thing was let's have churches start paying taxes. Like that will help the bottom line. But so it's interesting, there's
or just do like Henry VIII did and just go to the churches and take their shit.
Yeah.
Just back up a truck to the church, pull the silver out, get the safe, and just take it.
Well, I don't want to give people the wrong idea here because your work definitely, spans across many different topics, not just religion. And one of the ones that was hilarious was the Inside Out, your take on the movie Inside Out.
Oh, brilliant.
So for those that have seen, it's the movie with Amy Poehler, Mindy Kaling, Bill Hader. It was about the kid where her emotions were like in her head, were personified, and like they were trying to find her memories.
Highly acclaimed, critically acclaimed movie.
Yeah, it's critically, it was a really big movie. But Lahna's spin on it was brilliant, where it's this kid is grown up at like a party, making bad decisions, like anal sex.
I was in tears. Yeah,
that
was great. Yeah.
Just it was fantastic. I saw you guys. That was a big production. How did that happen?
The production value is amazing. This guy Emmett, who's done some more other videos for me, he blows my mind with how talented he is with making things look cool against a green screen. But what happened there? Steve, the guy who plays Bing Bong, the elephant, he and I actually I invited him over. We went to I belong to like a swimming pool tennis club thing, and so he brought his kids, and we were talking in the pool about the movie. We'd just seen it, and we were laughing what it would look like if she grew up. Literally wrote the sketch in like 2 minutes. I was like, oh my god, what happens when Riley grows up? She's going to be smoking weed. She's going to be like it get fucked up, and the voices in her head are going to be completely different. And the next day, I sat down and wrote the sketch, and then casted it. We shot it within about 2 weeks or so of that day, and then there you go. And I did not expect it to look as cool as it does, but the production value looks amazing against the green screen. I mean, he even made like the Anger's head smoking,
right. The fire come off.
Yeah.
The hair's on fire. Like it looks really cool.
I was in tears. It's hilarious.
It's so brilliant because absolutely, this kid is going to grow up, and it's just so funny seeing that change and like reality comes in. And
now, where do you get these ideas? How do you? I know you started with the music, and I'm going to get that and look at it because we played a couple of those little ditties.
So they're all on iTunes. Everyone get on iTunes and buy those albums.
I wrote a song about it. I love that because I'm one of those people who sings their way through their day anyway and making up dirty lyrics.
You do that.
I do that, and I make up dirty lyrics to virtually everything. You guys know. I absolutely love what you do. But how do you come up with new material? I guess is my question. What's your inspiration?
I kind of keep things close to my life. I mean, where some comics are more news driven, I keep it more like what's going on in my real world, which is why Limeade was so powerful because I had so much stuff come at me last year. the new project that I got. But just a lot of that material is written over a long period of time. Like So I Wrote a Song About It is my special. It was up on Hulu. It'll be back up on either Hulu or Netflix in the next couple of months. They had something with the distributor, and so they had to take it down. So it's currently available. You can, for purchase on like Amazon and anywhere where you can like download content that way. But that was written over several years. Whereas once I'd recorded it, it was amazing how quickly I was able to be productive creatively and write my new hour. So that's whenever I can record something and kind of get it out of the way, it allows for a new creative burst. So if that makes sense. But I've always been pretty handy with coming up with songs. And it's weird because I'll listen to people talk about songwriting sometimes, and so every song is a little different. Sometimes it requires work. Like I'll have an idea and I'll be like, I need to sit down and really hammer this out, and maybe even like do some research and figure out what works in the song. Whereas other ones, it just comes to you, and as long as you're ready to catch it and you can write it out real quick, then those are usually the best ones because they came out of nowhere.
Yeah, when it comes to influences, when I was listening to it, and this could just be me, my perception of it, but Adam Sandler came to mind. I don't know if anyone remembers the early Adam Sandler. I used to love those.
Like the little songs, they're hilarious.
Songs, and like even some of the music and stuff. Was that kind of a influence? Did you ever?
I love Adam Sandler.
Yeah,
he's hilarious. There's a lot of when I first started, I didn't really know I was going to be doing this, and there aren't that many women that do it either. Like only recently, there's been more and more female headliners, which is awesome.
Yeah,
probably one of my favorite songwriter comedians is Rodney Carrington, which is a funny. Like I just don't know that he gets the credit for being as great as he is, but his songs are hilarious.
You have to check him out.
Yeah, I mean it's more country driven, but it's really funny, some of his stuff. But I love Adam Sandler too. I mean, my God, who doesn't love a Hanukkah song?
Right. I was gonna bring that up as my favorite Christmas song. Is the
like
Hanukkah
Cock
song.
And Balls.
Yeah. I mean, he's so everything, all of his movies, everything. Yeah. I'm a huge Sandler fan.
What about Garfunkel and Oates? I've noticed that this is becoming more popular these days. I mean, they're doing really well on Netflix. Have you done anything with them?
I haven't watched their show on Netflix. I need to probably watch that. I did a show with them one night at the Improv. I was really excited to perform with them. They're really funny. I'm excited too. Like whenever somebody has something good going on, it only means there's more good to go around. And there's that other one too, the Boyfriend Show, which I only saw a little bit of, but my Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. That's what it is.
My Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. I think I've seen that.
The Crazy Ex.
It's a musical.
Musical, but it's a musical TV show, right? Like I've seen little snippets of it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's great. Like,
well, that's what I noticed. It's starting to pick up because you had the Flight of the Conchords, you have Garfunkel and Oates. Not, I mean, now you're doing your thing, and I don't know. I could be wrong, but it seems like it is like a concept that is getting more popular, and it takes me back to high school because again with Adam Sandler, like I listened to that album like until it was scratched and I couldn't listen to it anymore.
Right.
I don't know that it's ever gone away. I mean, even like Weird Al.
That's true.
That's more parody, but I love Weird Al.
Yeah, how about it? And now we're going back to the 80s, right? When Weird Al was getting popular, and he's still out there doing it, and it's hilarious shit.
He's still kicking ass with it. Funny. So. I was
trying to segue from the Hanukkah song to Marijuanica because we watched 6 videos and 5 of them have weed all over them.
I love it.
He's got the bong,
and then getting dug with high.
Yeah, getting dug with high, and with
podcast
Jay,
with Jay.
Chandra Kazan.
When I did that.
Yeah. So are you big? You obviously were a little bit less of a weed smoker than the other people in the video.
In that getting dug with high video.
I'm not a weed smoker. I do. It's weird. I do a lot of marijuana shows. I have a really good friend, Stoner Rob, who's amazing, and he's always putting me on these shows. So I end up performing for a lot of stoners, and getting dug with high was awesome. His audience is so killer. But I am not a pot smoker, mainly for a number of reasons. But I'm a single mom with 2 young kids, so I have to be able to function. And
I was gonna say, well, you look like you knew what you were doing that video because you cleared it at one point. I was like, hey, that's great.
I've been around it a lot, and but also for my kids, like, they've been raised around a lot of addiction in their world. So I just try and keep it as clean and like as possible for myself and for them.
But I think that's, I listened to and this is a good segue to the podcast, the Perfect 10 podcast, for those that want to listen to new comedy every day. It's fantastic. I think you're like on episode 164 right now.
Wow.
Is that still going?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's on there. Yeah. Well, Rob has he doesn't listen to any podcasts.
No, but I'm trying to be delicate here.
He's 98 years old.
Perfect 10 involved the both of them.
Perfect 10 podcast.
You know what so like when I started the podcast, I love podcasts, obviously. And when I started it, it was a lot of work, as I was trying to develop something that I could do with my ex that allowed him, like, I was always very focused on his career and making sure that focusing on my own career is new this year, because I always had the best interest of my family at heart and being a good mom to my kids and trying to keep things on the rails. And when things didn't work out, it forced me to like really focus on me. But the podcast was developed so that he could have more of a presence. And so I worked really, really hard on it, but we did it together, but it was really developed for him. And then when he was done, I thought, well, I guess I'm going to let this thing go. And I was really sad about it because I'd worked really hard on it. And then it clicked. I was like, why?
Right.
Why should I let it go? You know what? I'm just going to keep doing it until either nobody's listening anymore or, maybe something good will come out of it. And you know what? It's been over a year and it's kicking ass. It's got a whole new audience.
It should be.
It's got a whole new energy. It's a different podcast.
I love it.
You're funny. You're funnier.
Fun, right?
You're funnier.
You're
funnier.
You're so funny. And I love that you have different guest or guest hosts, I guess, co-hosts or whatever you want to call them.
Mm-hmm.
Different people. It's brilliant. You bring people in from the scene, your friends that are, hilarious. You get weird dating advice and just anything. I mean, I love it. And yeah, definitely. I would never let that thing go. That's doing really well, and kudos.
It's doing well, and my audience is different now. Like nobody seemed, it didn't really, I think I got one comment from somebody once that said that they were not going to listen anymore. And everybody else just kind of held on, and it's growing. It's one of the faster growing podcasts on the network now. And I'm really, really excited about it. And I have a lot of fun with it. And as long as I'm having fun, I'm going to keep doing it. And I think it comes across that I'm having fun because I love everybody too. And, I feel like I bring a lot of podcasts are driven on having guests that have big Twitter followings and, that will bring more people to their podcast. And I've always just been all about, are you funny? And do you have a good story? Because that's what I want to do. I want to hang out with somebody that I like for an hour, and that way everybody will like them too. And I want people to come on and share something that also hasn't been shared before.
We didn't know if we wanted to bring up your ex, because that's one of the things I've noticed that I really didn't like so much is that when I do see you, Ralphie's name comes up and it's like, no, your comedy is like standalone and it's great on its own. And is that kind of strange for you now with the whole like relationship and things like that?
I don't talk to him anymore on a personal note. I got to a point where we can't even talk because financially it's a nightmare. I mean, as far as my professional stuff, it's both. It's both good and bad. Like, I don't want people to, when they think of me, to just think of me with him, but it's impossible for them not to. I mean, over the course of his career, we probably spent like I've done the math on it. I would say close to $2 million pushing his career forward. We had a publicist at $3,000 a month for over 10 years. That's $500,000. Billboards, managers, agents, assistant, like a bus, like good. The amount of money we spend investing in his career, trying to keep him in the line, it's amazing.
Yeah.
And I think I had a website.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And I was content with that because I also have 2 amazing children and I have a great life and I got to do stand up, but I didn't ever have to carry the weight of the earning. And that was sort of the arrangement we had. And now I get to try and have my own career, and it hasn't been that long. And I'm so appreciative of all the wonderful things that have happened to me this year, because it just tells me that I can have a career without him at all. I mean, he never did. What bothers me is when people think that he did something for my career,
right? Like
that he somehow wrote something, any of my material, or somehow did something that got me on TV, or I mean, like I might have been in the sidelines when he was on Celebrity Fit Club, or I might have been in the background when he was on Last Comic Standing, but I was never pushing my way like Lucille Ball, like put me on. I was always very happy to just watch him be successful, because when I met him, he had nothing. So, you know, at this point, I want to be able to take care of myself and my kids, and I would like for the legal stuff to end.
Yeah, well, and I sympathize. Some of us here have been through those similar proceedings, and it's not fun for anybody. But it's all about you now, and I can promise.
Absolutely.
Are you divorced? Are you divorced?
Yeah,
as well?
very recently, two of us here are very recently divorced, and I have two young children too. And I know what a devastating tragedy it is in your soul, and
it's very hard.
It's just ridiculous.
What I think it's hard for you guys, but then just imagine Ralphie May, and then people saying, "Well, you'd be nothing without it." That whole shadow thing. It's just
you know what? I've been looking at this for a limited amount of time, and I can already tell that's all smoke and mirrors. She says
it's just those
she's
damn
the funny
online trolls. She's the
talent,
one. Right?
We can already tell.
I
what
think
went
he's
on.
incredibly talented. Like I've always looked up to him for what he can do, but what I do is completely different.
Right.
And I'm really looking forward to people discovering Limeade, because if anybody ever had any question as to him having any impact on what I can do, then this should squash that.
And this again is Limeade, the new comedy album. It's comedy music, and it's the Jagged Little Pill of
comedy album.
Oh, and when you guys see these videos, you're gonna love it, because these videos are you like the other ones. These are on crack. Like they've got the production value is amazing, and I just can't. It's a few months out, but you're gonna want to talk to me again. We'd
really
love to.
We'd love to.
And
like the videos that you have out there right now, I mean, we're really we're gonna get it on our social and get it everywhere, because they're so funny and so well produced and
right up our alley.
And right up our alley too. Like and just ingenious. I love it.
We'll get back to that in a second. We are talking with Lahna Turner. She's the fabulous comedian, and right now it's time for a little thing we like to do called Myth of the Day. We have with us our buddy Antonio Desconocido. ¿Cómo está, Antonio?
Muy bien. Thank you, Lahna, for being with us today. In connection to a conversation that started us out today, the Bible reflects, broadly speaking, a symbolic movement through 3 ages while foreshadowing a 4th. In the Old Testament, when Moses comes down Mount Sinai in the 10 Commandments, he is very upset to see his people worshiping a golden bull calf. In fact, he shattered the stone tablets and instructed his people to kill each other in order to purify themselves. Most biblical scholars would attribute this anger to the fact that the Israelites were worshiping a false idol or something to that effect. The reality is, the golden bull is Taurus the bull, and Moses represents the new age of Aries the ram. This is why Jews even today still blow the ram's horn. Moses represents the new age of Aries, and upon the new age, everyone must shed the old age. Other deities mark these traditions as well, such as Mithra, a pre-Christian god who kills the bull in the same symbology. That is from Zeitgeist, the movie Part 1. A shofar horn is a horn traditionally that of a ram used for Jewish religious purposes. Shofar blowing is incorporated in synagogue services on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, and that is our myth of the day.
So he read that kind of like one of those old school like NBC announcers. Remember that?
Did you ever blow any shofar?
Yes, I've blown a few shofar in my day.
Nice.
That's hilarious. Before I forget, I wanted to thank Tom Green for retweeting us. That guy, it popped in my head. But
Who?
yeah, Tom Green.
Who?
So hopefully, he'll retweet this one. We'll get him.
Do you remember Tom Green, Lana?
Of course.
Oh God, that guy.
That guy's great.
Oh, it's so
I'm a
funny.
fan of his.
Yeah, but getting back to the videos, yeah, definitely check out those videos. Well produced, and I can't wait to see this new video series.
Talk to us about what we do a little bit. It seems like you have a spiritual side, maybe some kind of sense of karma in your life. All the bad things you've gone through seem to get rewarded with your persistence and your righteous living. Where do you fall? Where do you fall on this secular spectrum that we're so fond of here at the Atheist Podcast?
Oh God, that's a tough one.
I know.
Put her on the spot, and that one. Right?
I think there's so many things that we can't explain that just when you see an insect and it's flying toward a house or a mountain or a big object, I don't think it's aware. Like when it's flying at your head, it's not aware of what it's flying at. It's just like it's something massive in comparison to the size of that insect, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I feel like we are all day long. We're just totally unaware of what's really going on around us. There's things around us that are massive that we can't see and microscopic that we can't see. And to try and explain that and comprehend it would be the same thing as an insect trying to comprehend our existence next to it.
Yeah, it's funny. It's the second time now I've heard someone kind of use that analogy. The other one was like dust mites. This guy was telling me, he's like, yeah, it's like a dust in the corner. I know there's dust mites in there, and then you go sweep it up and like destroy their whole
nematodes.
Yeah, whatever it's called. But yeah, it's definitely an interesting thing. And
so you have a real sense of how small you are in the universe.
Yeah, like and how finite our existence is. Like, I mean, I'm fortunate that I've been able to procreate and create these 2 new lives, and I want them to have healthy, happy lives as they grow up. But to attribute any of that to some sort of religion would be like a man-made religion would be foolish. But to fully negate that we're I don't believe in like any kind of deity, but we can't comprehend why or what or anything. Like it's too big.
How do you address that? How old are you 2 kids? I have a 7 and an 8-year-old. And how do you, as an atheist parent, it's a quandary. How do you bring them up? Do you?
My kids are hilarious because they'll have debates already, 7 and 9.
Nice.
And my daughter will say to her brother, she'll be like, August, do you believe in God or fairies? And he'll be like, I believe in God. She'll be like, I believe in fairies. And they'll just debate this back and forth. And then when when they were a lot younger, we would go into hotel rooms and they would run. As soon as they get in a hotel, they open the door, the kids would just run around like crazy. And then one day they would find the Bible, and every time, because it would make me crack up. So they started doing it because it was funny. And I don't know if they understood why, but they would always pull the Bible out of the drawer. And they did this on their own. I didn't start it. Open the Bible and go, once upon a time. And then they would start making up a story.
That's great.
And it was.
Then they lived happily ever after.
And they lived happily ever after, because it was before they could even read. So they would make up their own story by opening the Bible, and it would always start once upon a time. And that to me is like all they need to know about religion. There you go.
Nice.
Well, now what kind
anyway.
of Bible is that you have in the house?
Oh, not in my house, in like a hotel room.
In a hotel. I missed that part. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So
but I mean, they do ask questions, and I always, they've asked me if the tooth fairy is real, and I answered them with a question. Oh, what do you think? Because I don't want to lie to my kid,
Right.
and just, so I try and keep it. What do you think? And well, I don't think it's real. Well, that's your decision.
Yeah.
But I still put money under their pillow because
Yeah, it's a tradition, and that's we're atheists here, but we still celebrate Christmas. I mean,
they all know. The kids know. They just don't want to lose the money either, or the Christmas presents either.
Yeah, right. They don't want to question Santa.
Oh no.
Right.
In July they're skeptics, but come November they're like, I don't know, maybe he's real.
That's funny.
Oh yeah.
So Lahna, what do you have coming up? What are some things on the horizon outside of the Grammy that you're going to win?
Oh, I hope that's so funny. I would love to just even go from the docket to nomination. That would be huge. But Limeade just came out. I've got the videos are in post-production, and those are coming along. I just actually got another video back last night. What else? I'm meeting with the woman who produced So I Wrote a Song About It, my last 1 hour, and we're in negotiations right now about producing another 1 hour. So that's pretty exciting. Oh, and I'm in a couple of films, independent films that are submitted to Sundance currently. So
awesome.
I'm very hopeful that there's 3 movies actually that have been submitted, and I'm hoping that one of them gets picked up. So I'm going to try and go regardless, but
can you say which films, or is that like
I can tell you about my friend Jill Michelle wrote a film called This Is Meg. It's awesome. I actually play a character where she's a comedian in real life, Jill Michelle Melion, which she's amazing. You guys should have her on the show. Actually, she's amazing.
Oh yeah,
she was on Mad TV, and she's.
Oh, I'd love to have her. Yeah, absolutely.
She's really good.
I love Mad TV.
And you should also have Catherine Reinhardt, who did the other film that I'm in. But This Is Meg. She plays a comedian who's kind of like not on social media and not playing the game, and I play a comedian who is. And I'm performing my songs, and I'm naked. And this film. So I had to really commit.
Wow.
To the role.
Name of the film again?
Yeah.
This is Meg. I'm wearing pasties and a merkin.
Nice.
Yeah, but it's
Merkin,
funny.
not a word we hear every day on the podcast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
merkin's a good word.
That's a brave move. How was that? Was that like, were they like tell you up front you're going to be naked, or?
Yeah, she wrestled
Jill and I brainstormed the scene. She had wanted me to be like fairly exposed, and I'm actually the one that came up with the merkin because I love Jill and I loved the opportunity, but I wanted it to be as funny as possible, and that just seemed hilarious, so I went for it.
That's awesome.
I think you're a little
as long as the joke is there, then why not? But
right.
But I've done a couple of like these nude comedy shows in the last few years. I did. It's sort of like a body positive thing.
Okay, cool.
And so it maybe helped me get more ready and prepared for it. Because I used to be so self-conscious. And I never would have done anything like this. But having children changes that. Because when you're birthing a child and there's 20 people
you're
walking
in front of everyone,
you kind of got to let a little bit of that pride go, don't you?
Yeah.
You just realize that it's not that special.
Yeah. And so it's more of a European thing, because don't they do the naked news TV and
clearly I have to follow Lahna's career a little better. You're really missing out here. But I tease, but you're a gorgeous woman, and I wanted to ask about the Grammys. What are you going to wear? You seem to be
you're so
made
sweet.
for the red carpet.
If it happens and I get to go, then I'll be dressed I'll find something amazing. But it's a long shot. Norman, I told you about, who produced the album, and I look at it like Wayne Gretzky, right? You take 100 shots and one goes in. So we're taking a shot, and he and I are fully prepared to do another album and another one and another one. So, if this one doesn't get it, the next one will. But I think that this project stands up against anybody who's submitted anything this year. It's as good or better than anything else. But it's very political.
Who else would be in that category?
Oh my gosh, there's a bunch of people. A bunch of comics, big ones too. Big ones. I know Amy Schumer's in it too, and there's a lot.
Excellent.
Yeah. So people with much bigger names than me, which also have machines behind them, big expensive publicists and stuff. So it's a long shot, but like I said, it gets my project some attention. It's got you guys talking about it.
Absolutely.
And it's a really good project. I'm really, really excited about it.
I'll be all over it.
I think there's a song on that album that can relate to anyone. Like, you went through a divorce, you probably really hated the cunt. You know what I mean? Like, there's, or there's a few songs in there that you have a friend who is, going through a breakup and she's pretty upset, send her a link to Fucked His Best Friend.
Yes. That was a hilarious song. Definitely check it out. And, we'd love to help on our end as much as possible promote it. We know all about not having PR people and things like that and doing it organically. So we'll share everything on our side, and maybe we can hook you up with some of the big names in this world and get some more attention around that. That'd be great.
Oh yeah, I'm down for whatever. I believe that this is the next few years for me are going to really be good.
Awesome.
I've gotten when I look back on what spawned this project and I think about it, I'm like, wow, I'm so much better off now. I was so prepared to be a widow, and now that I'm a divorcee, I've had time to try and figure out how to get my own identity, which it's a blessing. It was a hard journey, but I'm so happy now. And I don't know if you guys you said two guys that have gone through something similar. So
yes, and it is. It's a relief. It's a discovery of yourself and your abilities, and
you got to look at the world a different way.
You've gotten in 3 or 4 fantastic side-handed slams. I have to bring that up. It's absolutely tickled me to death.
Me?
Yeah. You probably don't even know. You probably don't even know you're doing it because we didn't want to. Obviously, we didn't want to get into talking about your ex. It's about you.
Oh no, I
don't
intend to slam him.
No, I know you don't.
I don't care enough to.
Right.
You know what? I spent almost 18 years supporting him and wanting him to be the best version of himself, and I loved him with all of my heart. I wish that, he's the father of my children, and I want him to thrive. It's a sad story, really. I never thought we wouldn't be together. I wasn't the one that filed.
Yeah.
TMZ reported that I filed for divorce. It wasn't me, actually.
Yeah, TMZ gets all their facts wrong.
Damn them.
And they're terrible.
TMZ.
No, I never would have filed for divorce ever. I believed in, like, I'm not religious. I didn't believe in the God part of it, but I believed in and putting my word. And when I give somebody my word, that's it. And I took a vow till death do we part, through sickness and health. And I believed in those words, and I wanted to honor those words, but it was hard, but I did. And I think he gave me a gift by letting it go, but now we really need, I want it to be done.
Right.
The legal stuff. Oh,
Yeah.
that's a nightmare.
Well, this is to looking forward and not looking back and continuing your awesome career.
Yeah,
Thank
congratulations.
you. Well, I
on
hope I
all your
didn't take a
success.
jibe or a jab or whatever. I certainly don't.
I don't think so.
mean to.
No, but
I guess it's impossible for it not to come off that way. But
right. Well, Rob knows all about that. So, but Lahna, thank you again so much for joining us. Again, everyone check out her albums on iTunes and Amazon, and then also the videos on her YouTube channel. And keep an eye out for the video series that's coming out. I can't wait personally, and love to have you back.
She's absolutely fantastic. She's at the top of my list. There's only two on the list of hottest Jewesses in America. With Sarah Silverman, absolutely talented, ridiculously beautiful Lahna Turner.
Yay.
Thank you for joining us, and
thanks, guys.
we hope to have you on again.
Thank you.
Join us next week for Mary Finnegan from the UK, exposing the Buddhist temple sex scandal, which is breaking now thanks to Mythicist Milwaukee's hard investigative work.
Well,
Join us again next
it's gonna be a
week.
powerful show.
Thanks, everybody. The Mythicist Milwaukee Show is brought to you by Mythicist Milwaukee. Producer Sean Frasek. Associate producer Melanie Lawson. Engineer Jason Lawson. Mythmeister Antonio Blandone. Researcher Kristen Whitaker-Hood. Closing theme written and performed by Shelley Siegel. On behalf of co-host Brian Edward and the entire team, I'm Rob Moore, reminding you to keep it safe and keep it secular.
Okay, got it.